Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Entertainment Expansion. We are your hosts, Tyler Callahan and Mike Ferrante. Mike, how you doing on this fine day?
Well, Tyler, as always, I am chilling.
Pretty standard for you. That's good. That's good. There's been a lot of news in Hollywood this week, but obviously, I think we gotta finish our conversation first about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yes, we do.
We have the second half. So basically, what 4 through 6? Obviously, a whole season discussion. Spoilers for just about anything we need to discuss about because there's quite a bit to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
And then obviously, maybe if we can get to it at the end, there is a maybe talk about the Captain America 4 movie that was announced. But let's focus on the show. Mike, I'll start off with you. As a series overall, what'd you think?
Overall, I think it was a good series. It kind of had a quick pace, a lot faster than WandaVision did.
I was breaking my neck. I was moving that fast.
Yeah, almost got whiplash. But all in all, the action was rock solid throughout it. I
Hmm.
feel like it touched on a darker side of Marvel, which is what I'm actually liking a lot about these Marvel shows, is that they're definitely more adult topics while still having
Yeah.
some funniness for the kids. But the overall theme is it's a lot of trauma dealing with. That's what I'm,
Yeah, definitely between both shows too. Like, had
yeah,
to deal with loss, trauma. It's not like something I'd put on for a 5-year-old to watch.
yeah, definitely not. Granted, they wouldn't really understand it,
No.
but no, all in all, I mean, there's definitely a message to Falcon and Winter Soldier, or should I now call it Captain America and Winter Soldier,
Hmm.
because that is how it ends. But one thing I do have to get out of the way with these comic book accurate suits, man, they're pretty good.
They know what they're doing, you know?
Yeah, they're pretty damn fucking good. What
Uh,
about you, Tyler? What did you think about the show?
I got thoughts. I got thoughts.
Let's start with the good, and then we'll work our way into the bad.
Okay. I mean, I think I'll give it the highest props I can give it, and I do think it is better than WandaVision.
Yep, I
Now
could
the re
agree.
now the reason I'm starting with that is I'm going to build my case down. One thing I liked, even though again it was a bit sloppy, it's also a bit of a negative, but compared to Spider-Man, compared to WandaVision, I like how this was the biggest we have seen post snap, or I guess post blip, technically, what the world is like.
Yes,
Spider-Man made fun of it. WandaVision was self-contained to the town, so unless Sword talked about it, we saw nothing. But the fact that there is a new like organization, kind of like a UN, that's trying to put people back where they were. There's refugee camps. There's issues with the refugee camps because obviously governments can't run anything right. Um,
naturally.
so this definitely, at times, definitely got more political than I was expecting from the show. I knew the show was going to talk about race and stuff like that, which it did, but I'm happy it also went a bit political as well.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that it took that route.
Hmm.
Um, and I was saying to you the other day, like I think the biggest problem I have with this show is that it's showing us what society could be and should be, and what our government or our politics should be doing for us,
Yes.
and what they're the only thing that's accurate is how they're failing to help everyone or
Or
our
how they're willing to
citizens.
throw someone under the bus as needed, aka Walker.
Yes.
They got that part too. But yeah, I mean the politics, the action, like I said, it was very good. It's definitely more grounded. It's the Winter Soldier slash Civil War kind of action, which is great to see. Did miss that, and I think how how they handled Sam becoming Captain America, I thought was great.
I
I
agree.
All the other characters by the end of the show, though, I felt like there should have been an episode to pad it out.
Yeah. Definitely having an extra episode would have helped.
Hmm. I think it is
But
criminal that uh, Bucky talking to the Japanese father
oh yeah.
with is literally like 60 seconds.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see some reconciliation, or maybe not,
Hmm.
because we're seeing like a lot of, oh, you know what? There's a lot of forgiveness in the air. But what if this guy wasn't okay with it?
Yeah, we don't see him go through that process.
Yeah.
And then Sam's like in the previous episode, oh, you got to do the work. We don't see him do the work. He gets 60 seconds for that scene, which I would be fine with if they showed, say, a montage of him going through the book. No, no, a few minutes later, the book's done. All the names are
Yeah,
crossed off. Okay.
I don't really know how that happened, but
But again, like I feel if there was a final episode post the Battle of New York, where half of it could have been Bucky going through some of that, Sam meeting people, like it would have gave closure, proper closure to the
would
season.
have made more sense.
Yeah. Walker is another thing. I liked him in the final episode.
I
Um,
agree.
I liked his kind of a face turn, like he's kind of trying to be good again. He went to save those people. He had no problem working with Sam or Bucky as needed. But again, the previous
Well,
episode, they broke his arm.
here's the other thing. He never really was a true villain.
He never was a true villain, and then I think Wyatt Russell is a great actor for this role. He kills it
Oh,
the entire
absolutely.
season. But I think the issue is like, yeah, you're right. He was never truly a full villain. I'd say he's more of an anti-hero.
Or an antagonist for the
Yeah,
series. He never really went full evil. There was definitely parts where his mind was a little warped.
yeah. I even saw a quick glimpse of that when he was thinking about saving the people. Like he was hitting his head, like he wasn't sure.
Yeah, but deep down he knew exactly what had to be done, because his whole goal at the end of the day is to save people.
Hmm. Yeah, I did see comments online that it was actually a good callback. Is Lamar, rest in peace. But one of the things he constantly
His
said
life
throughout the
mattered.
show was he always makes the right decision in a heat of battle, and he did.
Well,
He
we'll
did in
give
this
that a
case.
99%.
Well, I mean, when the guy says it dies, I feel like that 1%'s okay.
Yeah, definitely
I
shouldn't have
I
cut
think
a
for me,
guy in
it's like
half with a shield.
there's no scene with them talking. Like if even if they just said something that okay, I'm fine with you guys for now, or something, or even at the end after Sam gave his great speech, what did those
Yeah,
two characters get? A head nod? Really?
yeah, that was pretty dumb.
Like even if like if you were to say, well, Tyler, they're in the heat of battle, they can't have a conversation. That's fine. That's fine. Even after battle, you can't have a quick word. Like you good? Like come on. Like again, it felt really, really rushed toward the end.
Yeah, I mean, what I do like is that they gave the time to kind of show Isaiah wasn't completely dicked over by the end of it.
No, I would say besides Sam, Isaiah, I would say is number two and like properly done for his character, which is good. I mean, but that's the thing though, like they gave him proper time, which is fine. Sam, obviously, but like Bucky and Walker are kind of just thrown to the side. And then, I mean, let's not even talk about the terrorists and how underdeveloped they were.
Unfortunately, um,
I mean, that's a negative. It's like the first half of the season, they had me. I was with them. Why not? One world, one people. I was for that. And then she started killing people, and she didn't really back up why she's doing it. Besides, they only understand violence. I'm like, I'm out.
well, because she became kind of a radical, and that's what Zemo was saying.
Yeah,
Is that she started out with a good cause, but it kind of went downhill from there.
I would say another point too in the ending was rushed is the group seemed very tight knit. Like even though they were underdeveloped, I thought the group was tight knit. But apparently they had the scene where she's like, well, if they don't they don't listen to us, we're just gonna kill them. And then you see the look of the other supporters like, I
Oh
mean,
yeah, they're like,
and then,
wait, hold on a second.
and I'm like, excuse me, this is now where you back off from this. You're not cool with you're cool with scaring these people half to death, kidnapping them, but killing them. Oh well, hold on, I'm not here to kill anyone. Like, oh no no no.
Well, I mean, to be fair,
You just started a battle in New York City, and you're not committed to go all the way. Nah, weak.
yeah, I guess.
Like
I mean, I kind of like that because it was a separation.
I just feel that should have came up earlier. Because like when she killed the initial group a few episodes ago, when they took the supplies, if you wanted to build up to that moment, there should have been more of a conversation between the group. Like, you shouldn't have done that. Don't do it again. And then maybe she understands that, but then she goes crazy again at, the last episode, and is like, no, we're going to kill them if they don't listen to us. And then, like, there was no build up to it,
Naturally.
which I feel I've been
Isn't.
saying a lot.
So the funny thing about that,
Mhm.
I feel like you are right, but not entirely.
Okay.
So there definitely is build up. So we kind of knew Carly was building up to be the real villain, which makes sense.
Mhm.
But
Like you
one
said,
thing that
Walker
is
wasn't a villain.
overlooked, I think, is how she got that way. Like, they didn't really give her enough of a backstory.
I agree
know
with
what I
you.
mean?
Yeah, I mean, her conversations when she talked about the past were interesting. But honestly, I think it would have been good if we saw a flashback, because her telling of the story is when the snap happened, people moved wherever they needed to help everyone, and her side of the story is everything was sunshine and rainbows. But what we see in Endgame, New York City's desolated. Fucking Steve is in a a grief counseling group. So I kind of would like to see a flashback to see if it was actually true at all.
Yeah.
Like the post snap we see in Endgame is very different to what she's talking about.
Well, we kind of got glimpses of that in Far From Home, if you think about it. So one of the things Aunt May said was, she blipped back and went to her apartment, or was in her apartment. Everyone thought she was a ghost.
Oh yeah, they took over the apartment. Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of adds some validity to what she was saying. I don't think anything was just sunshine and roses.
Mm-hmm. I just feel, but you just bring up a good point there, like what Aunt May says. I feel like if we had more time to expand on it, I think it would actually be a good political debate. Because, like what the senator mentions, it's like, okay, let's take Aunt May, for example, in this case. Does she lose her apartment because she happened to be blipped? It wasn't her choice. Or is the family that
That's
moved in, do they
true.
get to keep it? Like, or do they have to go back where they come from? In which case, Carly steps in and is like, no, they shouldn't have to. Let's have the debate. But we don't get that. It's a missed
Yeah.
opportunity.
Well, it's complicated. You wouldn't understand it.
Maybe I'm just expecting too much from a Marvel show.
Yeah.
All right.
Or our governments.
All right. I'm gonna stop kind of shit talking the last episode a little bit because there was 4 and 5 to talk about. Zemo.
Yeah.
Zemo
Stole the show.
Stole the show. He's also the MVP of the last episode. His butler got the most kills. Props to him.
Yeah, you can say that again.
That was what, 4 or 5 super soldiers dead?
In one shot, yeah.
Yeah. That butler's dedicated to his job.
Zemo says shoot. He says where.
Uh-huh. Says how many.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
I also liked, and obviously this wasn't really in the last episode, but for 4 and 5, I really did like Bucky and Zemo's interactions and how they kind of wrapped up with them and the Wakandans, and like Zemo doesn't hold ill will against them.
No.
And I actually like that.
Which is interesting because I think Zemo kind of sees Bucky for who he is as well.
Mm-hmm.
That he kind of had no choice in the matter.
Yeah, as much as he likes to shit talk super soldiers, he doesn't shit talk Bucky and he doesn't shit talk Steve.
No.
Those are the only two.
Well, he does Steve a little bit.
A little bit, but he also points out, when Bucky's like, well, Steve never went crazy or evil. It's like, but there's never been another Steve Rogers, has there?
I mean, that's true.
Like, Steve is the exception to the rule.
Well, he's the OG, if you really think about it.
And then for Bucky, it's like, yeah, Zemo likes to fuck with him a little bit, but he doesn't hate him because I'm saying he knows everything about Hydra. He must have known that they forced him. He was an experiment.
Yeah,
it's not like he was willingly, give me the shot. And hell, he even respects Sam a little bit because he immediately said no, he wouldn't take it.
Which makes sense.
It does make sense. It does seem that's going to become part of his character too, that he's not the guy with the super serum. He mentioned that in his speech.
Yeah, well, I don't think he would take it. Quite honestly.
I don't think he would.
His kind of, and his superpower is the belief that we all can do better. And oh man, do I wish that was a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, if only we had that speech, like something like that in real life,
Right. And then
Um,
after a speech like that, the government even said, you know what? Yeah, you're right. We're wrong. We're going to reverse that. Yeah, I'm sure that would happen. They wouldn't just be like, oh, you know what? Fuck you. We're still doing it.
shit, if we had a speech like that after the 2008 recession, oof, world would have been so much better.
Yeah.
Um,
Only if.
let's see. So Zemo's good. I guess I'll take my points now. I was right about the power
Yep.
broker. It
You
was
were.
Sharon.
You
Called
were.
it.
You son of. I was a little surprised.
Hey, I mean,
Just a little surprised.
what kind of girl, just casually tells Sam, "Oh yeah, no, I got some satellites. Let me see what I can get for you."
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Like that does. Now, obviously, the way to set her up at the end is she's going to be a CIA agent again, except she'll be selling anything she can get her hands on. So she's a double agent.
Probably.
The question is, what do you think they do with her?
I think she's gonna end up being a villain.
Yeah, but like, is she going to be a villain for like a Disney Plus show? Is she going to
I
be a
don't
villain
know.
for Cat? I don't. I feel like she can be an antagonist for Captain America 4, but if she's the full blown villain, it's kind of eh.
Well, she's quite formidable. Might I
She,
remind you?
I mean, she is formidable, but like, you need something fresh and exciting. Like, you need a new villain for a big movie. And if the main villain is, hey, I just saw you 2 years ago on a Disney Plus show, it's like,
I guess.
I mean, look, for Thor 4,
Let's.
you've got Christian Bale playing the villain. Like, they're going big.
It's true.
I'm not saying she can't be a villain in the movie. It's just like maybe a side villain.
Oh, you think a woman can't be a good enough villain, Tyler? That's sexist.
You know what? If she takes the super serum, go right ahead. Be the main villain. Go kick Captain America's ass.
I'm pretty sure Sharon could just whoop Captain America's ass without the shield. Sharon's a fighter, man.
Yeah.
She really was going toe to toe with Bucky for a second.
Yeah, I saw
Might
a
I
lot of
remind
complaints
you?
online though about like, oh, that Sharon thing didn't make sense. Why is she the power broker? I thought it made
It
pretty
made a little bit
clear.
of sense.
Yeah, and people were like, oh, well, what if she was blipped? Because apparently in Endgame they show her name on the blipped section, and my answer to that is that section
We
of what they
never
had.
directly knew it. Yeah, that's just
Yeah,
because I thought Scott Lang was blipped and he
yeah,
wasn't.
yeah. The thought Ant-Man was blipped. He was in the quantum realm. So I think what they did is they just took a scan of the planet. They didn't find her, so they added her to the list. They don't know where she is. Maybe she's on the
Correct.
ground. Yeah, because the fans' complaints are right. If she blipped, came back, and immediately ran Madripoor, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But if she had 5 years to build that up, she has a case for herself. Oh, the Avengers never, sought out to get me, and now those 5 years I was left all alone. You have a case.
It's true.
But yeah, I mean, her hatred. I mean, it makes sense. Yeah, I think the ending of episode 4, where Walker kills the guy, I think will be a standout moment from the show years to come.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a given though.
I think it's just very symbolic compared to Steve, because I saw a lot of people
Well,
come
yeah,
out of that. It's
it's
like Steve is what we
the
should
first time
strive
they've
to
killed
be.
really.
Steve is what we should strive to be. Walker is what we currently are.
If you're talking about like the country,
Like, yeah, like the country as a whole.
yeah, you're
Like,
not wrong.
which I think is good. And I think, well, maybe some people might disagree. We've done some nasty shit, but then I think it also connects to Sam's speech. Like, he's Captain America's, we got to do better, So I think it kind of
Yeah.
comes full circle a little bit.
I mean, it always does.
Mhm.
Question is, will we do better?
I don't know, maybe in the Marvel universe.
Wait,
I mean, first things first is, get that senator some help. He seems to be the only senator around that they can afford.
that's what you think. He's just working overtime. He's just there because he wants to do better, Tyler.
He's doing a poor job of it. He pissed everyone off and got kidnapped.
Well, it's not his fault he got kidnapped, all right?
Well, because he pissed everyone off. He didn't piss her off. Like Sam said, you don't want Carly 2.0.
It depends, man. Carly 1.0 seem pretty easy to deal with.
Funny you say that, because another small complaint is it kind of feels like all 3 military guys got nerfed a bit.
Yeah, but that was my biggest complaint about the show, Tyler. You know that.
I know. Well, let's talk about it. I think it's kind of bullshit. Bucky goes toe to toe with some alien freaks.
First of all, Bucky is probably one of the most OP characters Marvel has right now.
When he wants to be, clearly. That's how they're writing it. If he's not in the Winter Soldier mind, he
Well,
holds back on purpose.
there shouldn't be any holding back.
And I was fine with the holding back up until the final episode. You had people burning. Step up, use your metal arm, and crush their skulls. Get this over with. Like they've literally kidnapped people now. Bucky, step it up. But it's not just Bucky; it's Sam as well. Walker, right? Like,
well, Sam was always not the greatest fighter though, because he was getting his ass kicked by Crossbones. If you remember that in Winter Soldier.
I do. But see, I feel that one's a little okay because like that's his like first time working with Captain America. You had Civil War, you have Infinity War. I expected a little more from him.
I guess. But Sam was also holding back too, if you think about it, because he didn't want to hurt Harley.
It's true. I think the biggest two, I think the first one is Bucky. Bucky had to step up a lot more. Personally, I feel he should have been able to take on Walker one-on-one if he really wanted to.
If there was any time for him to go full Winter Soldier mode, it would have been that moment because he doesn't like Walker to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to replace his best friend, and he just disgraced the Shield.
And what did you say earlier? The Shield's like his last piece of a family that he has, and that's what you do.
Yep, and he just defiled it.
Mm-hmm. You step it up. But I also think Walker should have done better. I understand the first half, him losing fights. He's a normal soldier. He's going up against well-trained people, super soldiers. But once he takes the serum, he still takes those L's.
Yeah, he does.
The only win he has is that he almost saved the people and had to fight off 2 soldiers to try and do it. But besides that, it's like, all right, you almost killed Carly, but then she knocked you out.
Almost saved the people. That's good.
Yeah, almost. Oh, I'm sorry. Him screaming valiantly to the ground with the other 2 super soldiers. I mean, all right, you tried. You had the heroic music in the background, but you didn't actually save them.
Well, it's the thought that counts, Tyler. It's the thought that counts.
Yeah.
It was his defining moment, if you will.
It was his defining moment, but I feel like he should have had one win, like just a clean win. And I don't count him killing the super soldier on the ground begging his life as a win. That's not.
No, that was kind of overkill.
Yeah, seriously. I don't know. I mean, obviously we're gonna see Zemo and now a U.S. agent again at some point. In what form? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be quite interesting to see because you would have thought that Wakandans are gonna take him to Wakanda into prison.
Mm-hmm.
But no, plot purposes says he goes to the rat. That damn convenient script writing.
Yep. So General Ross, I assume, wants something to do with him since he runs the place.
Yeah, most likely.
Don't know what Val is planning for. Clearly, it involves U.S. agent.
Yeah, I read somewhere that Val is actually a sleeper agent for Hydra.
But Hydra's gone.
Are they though? Cut off one head, a dozen more will take its place.
See, I've been seeing like, oh, she's building the Dark Avengers to do missions Avengers don't want to do. There's the Thunderbolts. So obviously he's going to be part of some kind of team. Now you have like the anti-Captain America, which, to be fair, it doesn't seem that dark. It's like he'll help people as needed. It's just when he fights someone, he's going to be rougher.
He's going to kill him.
Yeah, he's going to be ruthless.
He's going to kill him, especially if you tell him that Lamar's life didn't matter. He's gonna fuck you up. He is gonna straight murder you. There is no coming back from that.
I do like how the show made the right move in his homemade shield and that it lasts 2 hits and then that's it.
Oh yeah. But I mean, come on, we knew that was gonna happen.
I know. I was like, I want to make sure, like, all right, like this thing's just gonna get thrown around, like break, like fall apart, right? It's just regular metal, and it does.
Which makes sense because
it's not vibranium, I will say, for just scraps of metal and him making it in his garage, he made a good replica.
He did.
It's good for Comic-Con.
I mean, if there wasn't super soldiers, I think it actually would have lasted a little bit longer.
It probably would have. That's true. You had super soldiers punching into that.
It might have even
knocked on
a few bullets.
Ooh, bullets? I don't know.
Listen, you never know. I think it's possible.
Anything's possible. So I guess with a Captain America 4, do you think it's safe to
Yes.
say they don't do a second season? Or at least anytime
Yeah, I
soon?
guess. Definitely not anytime soon. I think you're right about that.
Because I feel
I
like,
wouldn't mind a spin-off show.
with who though? Bucky?
Yeah, I think we could get a little bit more out of Buck, don't you?
I'm thinking Bucky would be like a supporting character for Captain America 4. Like, Sam will go on a mission or two. The guy's too strong. He needs help. Boom. Bucky's in to
But
assist.
yeah, like,
I feel
come
U.S.
on.
Agent will be
Let's
on
let's
the.
get let's get this man some movies of his own. He's always a supporting character.
I mean, I'd watch a Bucky movie.
I would. Can we
You
get
know,
a prequel of his times at the Winter Soldier?
you know, I would have watched a movie of him like dealing with his past with the book if they didn't just speed run that.
Yep,
That could have been his own adventure.
agreed. Agreed. But here
Also,
we
just to
go.
quickly touch on race, I think the Sam and Bucky conversation when they were training, I thought was great. I think Bucky
Oh yeah.
apologizing that both him and Steve, they were both wrong, and that they didn't know how hard it would be for a black man to take the shield and all
Well,
that.
yeah,
They didn't think about that.
correct. Because for them, he's just a guy. He's not.
Mm-hmm.
They don't
Yeah.
see him as like a black man or anything different. They see him as a friend, and that's pretty much it. But I
Also,
think
they weren't
after the
active during the
fact,
civil rights era. Like Steve was on ice. Bucky was mind controlled and doing assassinations. They never lived through that part of it. So Sam has that history. His ancestors have the history, but he's like, "What's the issue here?"
yeah. So another thing I do want to point out, though, now they might not be, or they might not have been, but they grew up in the 40s, the 30s, 40s, and 50s. I'm pretty sure they would have been racist as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not Steve, but Bucky probably would have.
I mean, if I remember the first movie, they made Bucky as like kind of like the womanizer kind of, but he was always like the nice guy. He wasn't rude. So I'd be
That
surprised
we
if he was like,
saw.
okay. So you're saying like they didn't show it on in the movie, but he had a racist moment or two?
No, I'm just saying, like, there was probably a good chance he was a little bit racist because he grew up in that generation. I'm just putting it out there.
Okay, all right, yes, I guess that could be the case. But clearly he's overcome it and he's not racist. That we know of still.
Correct. So otherwise, there would be a lot bigger problems in the show.
It'd be very awkward.
It's starting to make sense why he's saying we're not partners, we're not even friends.
And it's not me, it's you.
Yeah. A lot of things are starting to make sense now, Tyler.
Yeah.
Goddamn racist Bucky.
I mean, look, can you blame him? He is like what, 109? He's old.
He could.
But I would say overall, I'd recommend the show.
I would also recommend the show.
Good watch.
It's definitely one of the better things Marvel has come out with recently. Tyler, at a scale of 1 to 10, what is your final rating for the show?
I would give it a solid 7.
Really? A 7.
That final episode
Dropped it down.
It did. It did.
So where was WandaVision on that scale?
I would say comparing it to WandaVision. All right, fine. Falcon Winter Soldier 7.5. WandaVision is a 7.
Okay. So I'd be fair and just give it an 8 because the show did a lot of good things. Stuff that we can't really shit on too badly for. Because all in all, the show was solid. There wasn't really a dull moment in the show whatsoever. And listen, I really don't have any complaints about it other than
the final episode.
Yeah.
And Bucky, pulling his punches.
Well, that's my biggest problem with the show. Bucky should not have pulled the punches for any reason whatsoever.
Nope.
That man, I don't know why, but listen, it's neither here or there. Fucking asshole. He should have just tore John Walker apart. There's no reason he couldn't.
He should have been able to break that arm one-handedly. Didn't need Falcon's help for that.
Well, I mean, he is a super soldier himself, so he would have more strength too. So I get that. Just don't agree.
Okay.
But yeah, what did you guys think about Falcon and Winter Soldier? Are you planning on watching it? Because if you haven't yet, I can tell you, you're missing out. It's definitely a good watch. You guys should definitely check it out. If you have, please, as always, let us know what you thought about it. Are you looking forward to Captain America 4 or possibly if Captain America and Winter Soldier Season 2? Let us know at Entertainment Expansion. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We got a whole bunch of other stuff on our YouTube page. Check us out. If you didn't check out our video on WandaVision, I'd recommend giving that a watch as well. As always, thank you for listening.